Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode number 77 of the Banter Podcast. I am Tim, and as always, I am joined by Kevin Bradley. Kevin, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Feeling like death. Just went to the food truck park down the road from my place, ate some battered fries, dipped in sriracha queso, and my
Do they
heart.
batter I don't think they batter those fries, do they?
Yes, those are most definitely battered French fries. Do you not notice the crust around the edges?
I think that's just like I think they put like panko and stuff whenever they pull them out the fryer because I've seen them making them at taqueria before. I didn't think they were battered.
They definitely taste like normal. Like they have the same texture as like the big bag of Ore-Ida.
No, I don't dispute that fact. I think they have the texture of it, but I think they just put panko and stuff on them whenever they come out the fryer, and then
So
the grease holds it all on there and gives it the illusion of being battered. But yeah, I can imagine you're in some pain right now.
Yeah, actually, I went kind of light, surprisingly. Typically, I'd try and get like the Philly, whether that's chicken or beef. But I realized that they have a more cost-effective option is most definitely the combos that they have. And I got two.
Oh, yeah.
I got two tacos. So their tofu taco, I wish I would have got two of those because the tofu taco is probably the better of that.
It's basic, but every time I go there, I get the beef quesadilla that they have. It's really good.
The ribeye is good. Yeah, despite doctor's orders, I went and had a beef taco too. No, I think honestly one of the best parts of it is that soy sesame salad.
Oh yeah,
that's on top. Yeah, it's fantastic. As much as I've eaten Yumby and I've eaten Taqueria and whatever Hankook. Yeah, even though Hankook's not necessarily involved anymore, or I guess neither of them are involved. But I've always either at the restaurants gotten the bibimbap, or whenever I've gone to Yumby, I've always gotten the Philly or burrito. I've never gotten the tacos before, so those are good.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah. So
I've been grilling like a madman.
yeah. You sent me that picture. So you're home alone. So Anybody who's looking to burgle your house, burgling is completely different than robbing, right?
Yeah.
Because robbing involves assault or aggression. I can't remember what he says, but so anybody who's looking to burgle Kevin, go ahead. He's recording right now, obviously. So no, you sent me a picture. It looked awesome. So you guys got a grill on Sunday?
Yeah, we went down and picked it up this weekend. So I've used it the past 3 nights, which has been great because in a lot of ways I've been eating a little healthier because I haven't had any carbs with dinner, basically. So unless I can cook it on the grill, I haven't eaten it. So we get kebabs the past couple nights, and then tonight I pulled a play out of Heirloom Barbecue's book and did a gochujang, like kimchi mix, and rubbed it on some chicken and then grilled that. It was amazing.
that sounds pretty amazing. Actually reminds me of that Mind of a Chef whenever we were watching whenever David Chang made that burrito whenever he made the pureed kimchi as the sauce that went inside the burrito. He's like, oh yeah, these are just the perfect summer snack. I was like, yeah, because I could just go and make that for a summer snack. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go in the kitchen and go make a snack and come out like 2 hours later with burritos.
And we did grill. We got some peaches, which were great, and right. I don't think it's really peach season right now. I guess it's kind of that summerish. I think it's like a summer sort of thing. But anyway, we got some really good peaches this weekend, and actually grilled those on the grill. So you cut them in half, and then whenever you put them face down on the grill, the sugars and stuff and the peach comes out, and then gets a good char on there. And put a little bit of butter and some cinnamon, as much to make it not fruit as possible. And then put a little bit of whipped cream on there. Good God, that was amazing.
So you guys tried your hardest to make peaches into sweet potatoes or into pumpkin?
Yeah, pretty much. Which actually, so those flavors, they're not really the same. They're kind of similar. But at the same time, you can imagine, sweet potatoes and like warmed up peaches have similar textures. Like a baked potato has that sort of stringy, fibrous texture, and then peaches have a really fibrous texture to them as well. So, and that's from that standpoint, I think peaches held up a little bit better because they're already a little bit sweeter. So it was really good though. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, grilled fruit's not bad. So I personally loathe peaches. I don't know if it's the sliminess or if it's just the flavor in general, because I don't like it even like Snapple. Whenever it's just doused in sugar anyway. No, but like grilled
Oh, I
pineapple on
love
a burger.
grilled pineapple. Yeah.
It's so good. And then tomatoes, if you want to get technical, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned it. You mentioned it briefly there with the burglar comment. I caught that. So last week, apologies. I lost power last week during that.
Plug it in, Kevin. I don't even know why that never occurred to me to say that to you that night. Oh, I just tell you to plug it in.
But so you mumbled and rambled, and hopefully we can pick up on that conversation in a few minutes. But later on that week, we actually got around to going and seeing Ant-Man. So what did you think? I mean, I think it's pretty. I think we're already on the same page. But what did you think?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I don't toot my horn very often or like pat myself on the back because I guess it really is all up to subjectivity. But I never lost faith in this movie, despite the fact that they lost so much in the process between directors and whenever Edgar Wright getting either leaving. I don't remember if he left or got kicked off. I don't remember which one. But and then Adam McKay coming in, starting to direct, starting to write, kind of like pulling himself off of the direction, I think, and then whatever. So it ended up being a really fun movie, and unlike really any Marvel movie yet, it was. Though I will say it was kind of in the same vein of Guardians, but not nearly as dark as Guardians. So it was very lighthearted. It was a heist movie. For all intents and purposes, it was a heist movie, which it really shouldn't work to me as a superhero movie. But I thought it worked really well, and Paul Rudd I think is fantastic. I don't know how he's going to fit it. That's my only concern is how he's going to fit in with the Avengers whenever he gets there. But
well, I guess I can kind of see it like Chris Evans and what's the guy that plays Falcon?
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, I mean, and then you've got the new Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and so that's sort of the new Avengers, Thor, Iron Man.
Is Kate Bishop?
And I guess kind of Hulk too. I guess so, since they kind of introduced her character too. But my thought is. You're losing Robert Downey Jr., which is really the comedic centerpiece, the comedic relief centerpiece of that group. So I think that he'll fill a void that's definitely there. The sort of tech gadgetry comedic relief void that's been left since Tony Stark has sort of made his absence based on contracting and stuff like that. I think that's pretty common knowledge at this point. So.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. What did you think? I'm guessing you enjoyed it as well.
Oh yeah, I think my favorite part was just the remnants of Edgar Wright that were still in there. Just the play on, and that was really the interesting part about this title, right? Was the test footage that they showed and that play on scale and jumping in and out, and then also having his touch of comedic relief in the movie itself. I think that was my favorite part was. Whenever they were making the transitions in size and how that interacted in some of the fight sequences and stuff like that, I thought was really, really well done. And so, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than Avengers 2.
I agree completely on that.
The other thing was,
I think your mic's hitting your glasses right now. You're hearing a little click. Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's better.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and I was going to say something else about it, and it's already slipped my mind. So, but yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to picking it up on Blu-ray whenever it comes out because I really thought it was a fun movie. And now I remember what I was going to say. The more I rambled on and just say ums and yes and talk about how much I loved it, I figured it would come back eventually. But to your point about not losing faith in this movie, I think I definitely swayed back and forth, but I think that speaks volumes to the kind of the way that you and I both approach movies. Even Fantastic Four, which has gotten horrible reviews across the board. We saw a trailer for it in Ant-Man, and we're both like, we got to give it our fair shake. Yeah. I've got to at least see it and determine. I won't write it off just based on speculation alone or what somebody else has said. So, and Ant-Man, I was definitely thoroughly surprised. So.
Yeah, and one of the things I think they did really well. Some of my favorite parts from that movie were definitely the ones that did involve going up and down in scale. Like they could have gotten overboard with it, and they went borderline with it with some of the stuff in the last fight scene. But that to me was just hilarious. Like I lost my shit during some of that stuff, just because some of the stuff you wouldn't think of happening. So everybody's seen the train scene. That little bit in the trailer is not near the funniest part of that fight.
No, and I think that was the other thing that really impressed me was that I thought the best parts might have been ruined by the trailer when it comes to that, but I was again surprised several times actually during the movie on how they played into that concept. So
here we are a month late, I think, maybe a month and a half late, and we finally saw Ant-Man. Both give a thumbs up.
Yep.
And just to your point, we do try and give movies a fair shake, even those like Great Gatsby, where we went and saw. That's probably the hallmark, like mediocre, bad movie that we've seen in the past couple of years together in theaters that we both just kind of were like, oh. Yeah. And we saw Spider-Man too. So no. So it just made me think of, there's so many people who gave up on it because of the writing all the directorial changes and all that kind of thing that happened during the production or post-production, and made me think of Jurassic World, which we didn't get to touch on because we weren't recording at the time. And we can, it's, long gone at this point, but just so many people, it just reminds me, even at our age, how many people that we're associated with, or how many people, like even in my office, who just go into movies looking for something that they're not and just don't enjoy them because of that, like preconceived notions. And I've been down that road. I think we've talked about it before, where you just want to critique a movie just because you're like, oh, I think this is going to be crap, I'm going to go see it anyway. It's like, don't waste your money if you're not going to want to watch it. But it's too stressful. It's too stressful.
What's the point in doing it if you're not going to at least try to enjoy it? I think a lot of that stuff comes up. I can understand it if it's a passion for the subject material. Like I think that's where a lot of the sort of Harry Potter stuff, which I think the general consensus is those were pretty great all around. But Star Wars, these things that have a big backstory and a big fan base, I think that I can understand that a little bit more. But just the blatant video game hate, like people going into Destiny hating it before it even came out, just based on the fact that Bungie did Halo. I just don't understand it. Why are you going to spend your money to expect to hate something?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I understand if it's your job, if you get paid to be a critic or whatever, and you want to flex your NYU journalistic skills or whatever, and you want to just throw around $10 words that nobody knows, like you're Frank Semyon. But yeah, go and enjoy the movie. There's so many good movies that have come out in the past year, 2 years that at this point, especially Mad Max. If you guys haven't seen Mad Max, we didn't get to talk about it because we weren't recording during that stretch. Best movie of the year has to be, and it's out, I think, on VOD for purchase now. To me, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think in a couple months we're gonna have to do a rundown show of our favorite movies this year. I think that's in order.
Either that, or we just need to do where we do Banter Goes to the Movies and we watch movies that we have seen, that we've already seen, but you guys have no idea that we've seen because we haven't been recording.
So speaking of living up to expectations, we also talked about it a little bit last week, but Fear the Walking Dead started up this weekend as well. Did you happen to catch that?
I have not seen it yet. I am planning on watching it sometime this week. If not, I'll see it at my parents' house whenever I get there on Saturday or Sunday. I'm sure my dad's watched it. My dad's a big Walking Dead fan. But it sounds like you have watched it, and I hear you said living up to the hype. I'm guessing, based on the reactions that I've seen on Twitter from other folks, that you're maybe in the same boat at the moment, but I don't know that I'm sure.
So first of all, I broke all kinds of records for viewing for a premiere. I think it's the highest. 10.1, but yeah, we're just splitting hairs at that point.
For a cable show, we're not talking network. We're not talking about like the season premiere of Seinfeld or something like that. We're talking Simpsons whatever.
And it's for a new series. I mean, I get it that it's grounded in the same reality and it's by the same people, but it is a new series. So hats off to them. But so I'm in a weird situation where I enjoyed the first episode, but at the same time, just based on the setup and the way the show is going, it was a little boring. And I get that. It's not – The Walking Dead was really just throwing you into this mix of things that had already taken place, and you're constantly trying to figure out what's really going on. Well, Fear the Walking Dead is the flip side of that, where shit hasn't hit the fan yet, so you're really trying to figure out what's going on in this world that they're setting up, and what the characters' motivations are, and who they are, and what's going on pre-zombies, essentially. So from that standpoint, there's not a whole lot of walkers and stuff like that going on. There's a little bit of that. Obviously, the whole episode wasn't just dialogue, but to that point, I thought it was a little flat. But I couldn't be more excited about the characters that they've established in the first episode and the way that the show has started to take place. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, looking forward to seeing where it goes. It's going to be a short season. What did we say last week?
Six episodes.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I'm definitely interested to see where it goes, and I enjoyed the first episode. Like I said, it's just going to take, I think it's going to take a couple more episodes before it really starts picking up and has you on that sort of edge of your seat. And there were definitely moments of that in the first episode, but it wasn't all out Walking Dead. One last note is, I think going into this, I don't know if you had this perception of it, but the title always seemed really dumb to me, like the Fear the Walking Dead title. And I didn't get it until the stinger on the end of the first episode, which was really a trailer for the rest of the season, where somebody talks about what people do whenever they're afraid or when fear sets in. And so thinking about that and thinking about what The Walking Dead really has been, and that The Walking Dead isn't necessarily about the very literal Walking Dead human beings, but that the characters in the show are the Walking Dead, and that it's how human interaction changes and their perceptions change as the apocalypse happens. And so from that standpoint, Fear the Walking Dead is really more as through the lens of what happens whenever people are genuinely afraid. And so from that standpoint, panic sets in and stuff like that. So from that standpoint, I have a whole new perspective on the show, which I'm really excited about seeing as well. So
yeah, so you're right. So Rick says that, I think, in one of the middle seasons, that we're the Walking Dead or something like that. But right, he say something, he has some quote about maybe we're the Walking Dead. And that's always been one of the most interesting and sometimes borderline overplayed things in zombie fiction and movies and shows and all that, is that most often I come to expect that people are going to die at their own hands and not by the hands of zombies because of that fear, right? So you're driven to do things that you wouldn't normally do, and like Dawn of the Dead. Did you watch the remake of Dawn of the Dead with with Phil Dunphy in it?
Wasn't what was his name? What's the big black guy's name? That was
Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
I love Ving Rhames. I just saw Mission Impossible 5, which he is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll watch Ving Rhames in anything, man. He's like my second dad. So what was I gonna say? So in that, right, they strap up this like tank almost with these chainsaws. Like that's just, you see it. It's obvious foreshadowing, but people just like doing dumb things out of fear, and that makes me a little more interested in this show. I think that was kind of the consensus that I saw online, was that people were not necessarily drawn in so much by the first episode, but it's to the point where
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, the apocalypse is starting. It's not to the point, or at least we're led to believe it's not the same timeline as Walking Dead, right? So
I'd say it's a safe bet to say it's maybe 6 months to a year outside of when episode 1 of Walking Dead picks up, depending on how quickly it spreads. But
and
I'd say about that.
And go back to the humans killing other humans. Aside from like factions in The Walking Dead, I think that Kirkman and I guess the rest of the producers do a good job of kind of splitting that, because you do see a lot of the main characters die at the hands of zombies, which typically, like, because I guess we've gotten to the point where these people are smart enough to have survived for so long that they're either going to shoot each other in the head because they're at odds, or it's not going to be like accidental killing of each other. Well, I take that back because the last episode, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think they do a good job of telling that line and playing that. But yeah, definitely want to check that out and see what it's all about, see how they end up tying it in, if they do, to The Walking Dead. I don't know how they would, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see where it goes.
I wanted to run a rumor by you. I don't know if you had this on your plate to discuss, but there's a Walking Dead rumor for season 7 for Negan. Did you happen to see that?
No, but it makes sense. I think it's
no.
talked about.
Yeah, but who is playing Negan?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
John Hamm is reportedly playing Negan.
Really?
Yeah. That's at least that's like that was rampant.
I'm on board with that. I mean, he's got the AMC portfolio, so yeah. I can believe it from that standpoint. And yeah. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I could definitely see him playing something like that, which would be kind of neat to see him in a role like that too.
Yeah, and he's a big dude. I mean, he's
I'm down for it. He's got the hairline.
Yeah. To put that leather jacket on him, hear a few F-bombs drop, and a few, but yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. That's people have been calling for Negan to show up for their last, I don't know, three seasons. Yeah, and potentially what his gang or whatever his group. I've not read that far into the comic, to be honest, but like there were callbacks with the whole rape incident in season 5 that was his group's involvement, because I don't think you ever see those guys the rest of the season. No,
and now we've got the Wolves, so which I think is I'm in the same boat as you. And see, now you've brought up a topic that I can't talk about, so people are going to get pissed. But the Wolves are in the most recent season, so I think that might be tied to him as well. So.
The Wolves are, what is it? The Wolves are approaching. What is it?
Oh yeah. So now in the past 5 minutes you've mentioned factions and now Wolves. So I think it's only fair that we talk about Destiny for a few minutes, considering the amount of news that has come in this week. So
here you go, JP. You can mute it for the next 5 minutes at least.
So we are on the dawn of the Taken King here in the next week and 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, right?
3 weeks.
No.
Yes.
1. Oh shit! 3 weeks. Damn, that seemed further away than I thought. Okay. Anyway, we're on 3 weeks away from the Taken King, and we've talked about it a little bit, and we don't have to harp on it too much, but some things have come up in the past week. They did a stream on Twitch that talked about a lot of the quality of life changes coming to the game, and supposedly they're supposed to do 2 or 3 more Twitch streams that are going to go through some of the new areas and some of the new game types. But today, they actually unveiled some of the new exotics for the game, and I don't know if you got a chance to look at them or not. But
oh yeah, I wanted to say that is the coolest way to reveal shit for a game. I thought that was so original to say Zur is taking over our Instagram and he's going to show you guys some. As nerdy as that sounds, as absolutely nerdy as that sounds, Zur taking over the Destiny Instagram and he's going to post some new wares for you guys to look at. I definitely did. There's some really cool stuff in there. And it just makes me love that I don't play a Titan even more because of the way that helmet looks.
What? I thought that helmet looked amazing.
Oh, that spittoon that they turned upside down and put on top of
looks like my watch. Sweet. The thing that irritates me is like everybody bashing it because they don't know how to use it. First of all, thing across the board with all these armor pieces is they're adding a new perk where if you're picking up orbs whenever your super is full, that you get a perk. So for the Titan helmet, it recharges your melee ability, and I think the Warlock vest is melee or grenade or something like that abilities. So from that standpoint, I'm really excited because nothing's more frustrating than whenever you're doing a strike or something, your super's up, you don't want to use it, you pick up orbs, or you can't pick up orbs for that matter because your super's up. So, but the second part is everyone's bitching because this Titan perk, where if you aim your weapon while in the air, you stay in place for a short time. They're like, what's the point in that? And it's whenever you have weapons like the messenger that give you increased stat gains whenever you're in the air, that's the kind of armor you use with that fucking gun.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that perk is going to roll over to new guns in the Taken King too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely, and especially in this game, there's definitely more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. And I mean, people can be good. I mean, we've been taken out by some shitty, like what seemingly shitty armored people before on trials, and it's just the way people have learned to play with the perks that their weapons and their gear have.
Yeah. So we don't have to talk about it too much more because I know we talked extensively about it the other week. But one other thing that I just saw today was apparently, and speaking of trials, which somebody needs to get their weight up in that. I won't call anybody out on a podcast that I co-host with them, but I saw a video just before the start of the show where King Athalion went on a 9-0 flawless run with no mercy boon, no guns, just grenades and knives.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yep.
That's pretty amazing.
Ridiculous. So that should be motivation to get our weight up a little bit in trials if somebody can go 9-0 with just melees.
So we won't talk about all the weapons in detail and all the gear in details, but what would you say is your favorite thing that you saw today that you're looking forward to using?
That rail gun, because I want to see that on my back with the ACD feedback fence for the Titan, because they look just like, the arms look just like that gun, and also it's a new gun type, so I really want to play with it.
You're talking about the sleeper simulant?
Yeah.
Yeah, the heavy fusion rifle? Yeah. Yeah, that should be interesting. I am looking forward to replacing my current young Ahamkara spine with, or grasps or whatever, with the sealed ones.
So this is what we talked about last night. So I think this is one that's being upgraded, that is existing now, that they're revamping, like the Suros regime.
That's what it says. It says it's now sealed. The grasps are now sealed and filled with nightmare fuel, whatever that means.
I didn't know that Scarecrow was in this. Which is funny because the helmet that the hunter has on kind of looks like fucking Scarecrow.
Yeah, it does. How perfect is that? I wonder if that was by design.
Oh, that's pretty great.
So the coolest thing about it, I think, is that you'll, along with the whole orbs, whenever you have full supercharged, you get an additional melee with it. So throwing knives are going to be tossed around like a mother during,
especially with the perk that already gives you 2.
Yeah, so you're going to end up having 3.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
So one last note. What do you and we can talk about it again. I think we'll take a break for a couple weeks and then maybe revisit it the week before it actually comes out. Which we'll have a show that maybe we'll do a show that Monday, since that's coming out Tuesday. I don't want to have a show that Tuesday. Let's have a show that Monday.
Well, unless we do a Twitch, we could do a Twitch stream where you and
that'd be kind of fun.
Together,
yeah, that'd be fun. So what are you wanting out of the Taken King? Based on, I mean, aside from what we've already seen, obviously we've seen a lot of quality of life changes. We know a little bit about what's coming with armor and areas and actual game mechanics and content. But what are you looking for out of it?
You know, I was actually thinking about that on the way back from dinner, and one of the things I was kind of hoping for is more enemy types, because you have the four typical, or 4 races, right?
Yeah.
The 4 enemy races, and it gets a little tiresome because you have the same like structure. You have, the underlings, you have the drones, you have the underlings, and then you have the middle class, and then you have whatever. And as you get higher level, you don't fight against any of the, like, you don't get an extra enemy type. It's just an elder skank or shank or whatever. I'm thinking of my mind's on Borderlands for some reason. So that's one thing I'm really hoping for, especially the whole concept. But honestly, I don't know if I'll get it because of the concept of the Taken. He's really just turning already existing enemies into his own minions. So
yeah, but I think they approached that pretty well.
I'm not saying they didn't, but that's one thing that I'm hoping for. And then we get what, 2 strikes?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we get 1 with the Taken King, and then we get 1 from PlayStation that they've had.
I think we get 2 with Taken King.
And then we get the extra.
Get 3.
Yeah, that the PlayStation's had for the longest time, and then PlayStation's getting more content.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were with this.
I was listening to, I want to say, Guardian Radio, and they were saying how, I can't remember what it was. There's some content, might have been Crucible Maps or something like that, where they were like, how many we'll get? He's like, 3 or 4. He's like, well, is it 3 or is it 4? 3 or 4. So that led them to believe it was 4 for PlayStation and then 3. Bungie, I guess, just still has a grudge against Microsoft, maybe, but
yeah, that's getting a little old.
It absolutely is getting old, but I think strikes. I play a lot of the Vanguard Dragon playlist, and I'm getting tired of the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how the Taken weave throughout those, because I think that they're going to play a part in all the strikes now. And even to your point about, like, even though we may not get a new enemy type or like a new class, having the Taken, which is sort of a facelift on existing enemies and changing their attributes and their skills, I think that's really cool. Like Scion splitting in half and, all the different variations that they've done to that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
What are you hoping to get out of it?
So there's been this underlying theme in Destiny, and I've gotten into the lore a little bit over the course of playing the game, but even more so lately as we're coming up on the end of the first year. Where there's been this underlying theme of time travel with the Vex and the Stranger and all of the sort of underlying story of Destiny. And we already know that the Vault of Glass is going to be revisited some in the Taken King. So I'd love to see them weave in a little bit more of the story that's been in the background. Like the Queen, the House of Wolves was supposed to be about the Queen, and yet we didn't see her the entire time. And we've seen her brother in the trailer for the Taken King. So I'm really hoping to see them, and we see the whole Wolves fleet. So I'm excited to see a little bit more from the Queen. And I want to see a little bit more of these older areas that we may not have been playing at in some time. I'm not really actively playing Vault of Glass now. I'll go back and play it every once in a while, but I'd like for them to revisit that and really kind of touch base on why the Cabal are here, which we already know that's going to be touched on and stuff like that. So we'll see. Yeah.
So you brought up an interesting thing. I didn't realize that they're going to try and weave the Taken into those existing strikes. Is that going to be like level 34 and level 36 and level 38 and level 40 versions of those strikes are going to have those weaved in there if you have the Taken King? Or
see, I don't know how it's going to work. Because I know it's going to kind of pop up in the world like the Wolves do now, and like the agents of, like, you missed it, but the Minions of the Darkness would come up during the Dark Below and stuff like that. And I feel like they mentioned something about it weaving into some of the strikes and stuff like that as well. So I really don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm interested to see how it plays out. We don't really know much information about it right now. So, yeah. But another piece of news, which also ties into that pretty well and may actually be what we do for that episode, is, have you heard, they announced it right before E3, but YouTube's answer to Twitch, essentially, YouTube Gaming goes live tomorrow. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's their whole gaming service, which is great because there's a huge network of players that are uploading videos and stuff to YouTube all the time, and their service goes live tomorrow. So maybe we'll do a stream on that and try that out. That'd be kind of fun, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. Hopefully it ties into our YouTube account, and we can just there's really no point in us turning that into a podcast episode, because that would be kind of boring for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you want to hear Kevin just absolutely belittle me at every turn, then yeah.
I don't belittle you at every turn. I give you praise when it's due and reprimand you when it's due as well. It's not my fault that the reprimanding is far more frequent. That's your decision. It's your doing.
That's bullshit. That is one weekend. I had a really bad weekend. We had a flawless ticket the weekend before, so really don't want to hear about it.
Oh God!
The JUCO baseball player is making fun of the little leaguer.
So yeah, we'll have to do some research into that and maybe do a show on there. That'd be fun.
Yeah, is that going to tie into Xbox One?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just found out about it because I was getting on YouTube to look at some Destiny stuff before we started the show, and I saw an article that said that was going live. I guess that article was just posted today. That service is going live tomorrow. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I don't understand.
It's supposed to work on iOS and Android, so it may not be on Xbox yet because Xbox has that partnership with Twitch right now because it's built in. So it may not be, but we'll see.
All right.
I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah.
So another thing I have on my list here, and it's a little bit of a secret. I didn't want you to do any research before the show so that I can mention it to you as a little surprise. It ties into what you started talking about last weekend, which was Album of the Year. And you and I have been making a conscious effort to go to more shows the past year or so, and one of which was rumored, but there was nothing confirmed. Well, 10 minutes before the show, I got an email from Live Nation saying that the pre-sale on August 26th at 10 a.m. for the Under Oath tour is going live. And it's
hot damn.
And it's a Saturday show at the Tabernacle, and they're playing Define the Great Line, and they're only chasing safety from start to finish.
Oh, dear God.
And Atlanta is the last city on the tour.
What day? When?
It is April 23rd.
Oh, dear God.
So
that's going to sell out so quickly.
So I am going to get online at 10 a.m. to go ahead and snatch that up. So I'm gonna set a reminder on my phone because that is tomorrow at 10 a.m. So yeah, and the pre-sale, and that's pre-sale. So I have the code. So that's the other thing is it's at least pre-sale. So maybe we'll get lucky and go ahead and get it. But to that point, if we're going, we got to order the fucking tickets tomorrow.
Yeah. So what we should do is order a couple and then price gouge some people later on. But that would be scalping, I believe. And I know I guess it's not illegal with StubHub now.
So yeah, pretty exciting.
That is awesome. I did see that there was. I saw people posting the link today saying that they were going on that tour or whatever. I didn't realize that tickets were going on sale that early. That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially considering you and I have both been revisiting those albums as late. So
yeah, I can't wait. I mean, the last time I saw them was shortly after They're Only Chasing Safety came out. Right at its peak. So, man, dude, and it's again what we talked about a couple weeks ago, where we're in this really perfect time for music for us personally, in that all the music that we really listened to and loved in high school that has a lot of emotional attachment to us is coming around to that 10-year mark. Yep. And all of these bands are doing sort of the Never Ender tour or relaunching out previous album. Circus Survive tour is starting up. I mean,
Eterna, Undoing Ruin.
Yeah. And Keeping Secrets Silent 3. Yeah, it's so Under Oath tour. I'm definitely down for that, and I'm gonna set a reminder on my phone as soon as we get off the show to order those tomorrow morning. So
Yeah, oh man, that'd be fun. The only time I actually had tickets to see them, and I couldn't stick around for it, so I had to leave. We went and saw Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, and we had to leave for timing reasons.
I'm so unbelievably excited. Also, one, it's the last city on the tour, so those are always really, really fun. Either the first or the last are always super fun, or the hometown. Those are like the 3 best times to see a band. And so there's that. And then the second part, that it's on a fucking Saturday, is so perfect. If they're going to be doing both albums back to back, that is going to be amazing.
No reason to try and leave, or no reason to worry about timing. That's awesome.
Exactly. So I just hope that they re-release They're Only Chasing Safety, because I would love to pick up a cool version of that. Which I would assume that they would do something like that. So
we'll see. Probably will, especially with given how popular vinyl has become as of late. Kevin's talking about vinyl. If you guys didn't pick up on that. So yeah, this year, so it's crazy too. So we're talking, and I rambled last week to try and save the show, but it's crazy because you talk about it's been 10 years since, some of the most, I guess, influential albums, most important albums of our years came out. And 10 years later, this year, I feel like has been one of the best, if not the best, new release years in history, for me at least. So many of my favorite bands putting out new things, or just bands that I'm starting to listen to that. It's been fantastic. I don't know if that's just these bands. I honestly don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's just a perfect storm or whatever, but I guess it's usually the same bands every 2 years making an album. So
yeah. No, I agree. I think this year's been great for that. So did you come to a conclusion last week on what your album of the year is so far?
Yeah, my album of the year is Instant Gratification by Dance Gavin Dance. It's one of my favorite, probably top 10 albums now. And usually that kind of thing wears off after, I've listened to them. I'll make that rush judgment, but it's from start to finish. To me, it's a perfect album, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly. And I don't think anything's come that close to topping it this year. Though there have been a lot of good albums. What about you? What's been your favorite?
So yeah, I really enjoyed that album as well. I honestly think that my top might end up coming in the next month and a half or 2 months, between Churches and Coheed both putting out new albums right around the corner.
Pierce the Veil, maybe.
Yeah, Pierce the Veil is on the horizon, definitely. But of albums that have come out just to be slightly different, and because we went to the show right after it came out, but Descensus that Circus Survive put out, I thought was a really great album as well. So
yeah, it was. I think it caught me off guard because I didn't realize it was coming out.
Right.
One of those albums that just like hit me in the face, like, oh shit, I didn't know that they were even making this. And so many people, I think, were caught off by was it Violent Waves, the album before? Like, yeah. Because everybody wanted Blue Sky Noise again, and they didn't get Blue Sky Noise, and everybody wrote them off. And they're kind of back. That like it was more aggressive. It felt more passionate than Violent Waves did to me. But
and I had the same sentiments about Violent Waves in that I kind of wrote it off. But after Descensus came out, I actually went back and re-listened to it, and I really enjoyed it.
It's great.
I think there's some really great songs on that. So.
Yeah. So there have been a couple that have come out. So you don't think yours is coming out for a couple months? So.
Yeah. I think it's a safe bet that I'm gonna love both the Churches album and the Coheed album tremendously, considering I've already pre-ordered both of them. So.
So there have been a few that have come out recently, and one that's coming out. I guess I got to give these guys a shout out because they gave me early access to the album to give them a review. And I don't know if it's just me not wanting to do a solo show by myself for 5 minutes and post it. But these guys, the Money Pit. So Nick Newsham and Bobby Darling, They're both of a band, I don't know, we're probably 5-6 years removed from Gatsby's American Dream. They're kind of a like more indie band. Nick Newsham's made an appearance on quite a few songs. Actually the first time I've heard him was, I don't know if you've listened to Uneasy Hearts Weigh the Most, but by Dance Gavin Dance. His voice to me is so unique. He's kind of, to me, in the same mold that a person like Daryl Palumbo would be in, or Johnny Craig for that matter, where you hear it, you recognize it. Right. Yeah, he's so unique. And the same thing could be said, and I didn't know at the time because I wasn't, that invested. I don't know why, but the guitarist Bobby Darling, he's got such a unique sound about him too. He kind of defies kind of conventions with guitar, and he's very identifiable. So in the same way that you recognize these two guys playing together on the Money Pit, which to me that's one of my favorite albums so far this year. You hear both of their sounds, and you recognize them from Gatsby's American Dream, but then at the same time they're making new music, kind of more, to me, more charged, maybe more cohesive than they were. And I don't know, it's fantastic. It's got everything in terms of pace. They slow it down, they speed it up. It's a lot of change ups, and I don't know. It's got a nice sound to it, and it's definitely unique. And I definitely recommend picking it up whenever it comes out. In the meantime, go check them out on SoundCloud.com/themoneypit. And then one that came out, actually two that came out last week, and those would be like the last two I talk about for right now anyway. Speaking of Johnny Craig, that was another one that snuck up on me. So he's in a new band as of, I think.
God, his new solo album is so shit.
So that's what
I actually watched the video for one of the songs on there the other day, and I wanted to throw the fuck up.
So yeah, one of the things. So he's been in a new band as of, I think, 2 years ago called Slaves. That to me saves him from the R&B, and it's because his voice is very unique, and he's very talented. He's got an amazing voice, and I feel it's so much better served than some sort of rock music as opposed to R&B music.
Yeah, because you get the contrast. Like, you expect that voice to be on some sort of like boy band or R&B. Like, that video was just fucking Nick Carter basically doing R&B music.
So Slaves came out with a new album on Friday. There are a couple guest appearances on there, one by Tillian Pearson, the clean vocalist for Dance Gavin Dance from the past two albums. It's kind of funny to see them two be on a song together, given that
because he used to do vocals for Dance Gavin Dance. Yeah, that's great.
Which is also funny because if you listen, there's a band called Stolas. Skolas, yeah.
Okay.
New album called Prison of Elders that comes out soon. So
one for me. What burns are on that?
I'll make you. I'll arc burn you a CD. So these are just terrible puns. Terrible specific puns. So I don't even know what I was about to say. No, it's just another funny thing about that. So I guess everybody is kind of from the same region over there. I think they're all from like Sacramento, like kind of Northern California. And that band Stolas, the guitarist is fucking incredible. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they have their last album, I think Living Creatures is what it was called, and they have 3 songs on there. Johnny Craig guest stars on one, so that's the first, and then middle clean vocalist of Dance Gavin Dance. Kurt Travis guest stars on another one. He was the middle vocalist, and then Tillian is on another song. Kurt Travis and Tillian are back to back. It's like, okay, it's kind of like a contest, like which one's better, which one of the 3 does better on this with a different band. It's funny that, and I think I've said it before, that Johnny Craig getting kicked out or leaving those two between Emarosa and Dance Gavin Dance, all 3 of those are better off without. Like, he's better in another band, and then those other 2 bands now are better to me than he.
I don't know, man. Him on Emarosa was so great.
Yeah, he was, but I am very, very much partial to Bradley Walden now. I think
Well,
he's
see, I haven't
fantastic.
listened. I haven't listened to their newest. The last album I listened to was Johnny Craig's last album with them,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that was like 5 years
just
ago at this
yeah, just
point.
loved that so much that
Yeah.
um, yeah.
So yeah, Bradley Walden of Squid the Whale. I think I sent you that song "Bad Man" by them. They
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's the singer of Emarosa now. I think he does a great job. He kind of stamps his own kind of sound to it. But another album that came out of nowhere for me, and a band that I used to love that for some reason, I'm sure you have the same thing happen with you. Some bands that for some reason you stop listening to them. But The Sword came out with a new album on Friday, and that shit's so good. It's so reminiscent to me of, if anybody's a fan of Thin Lizzy, it's like they went from, this is their version of Chinatown. It's kind of like more lighthearted, experimental, I guess. At least that's what I remember from Chinatown for Thin Lizzy. But it's a lot different. It's not just talking about dragons and demons and all that, but it's also got kind of a lighter feel to it. It's not as heavy and doom, and a lot of people are kind of ragging on it because it's different from what they expect from them. But I kind of like that. Like I said last episode, whenever I was trying to create cohesive sentences, but I like whenever bands kind of experiment and go kind of find themselves,
So
after the fact.
I did give the band, of course, the name of it slips my mind. You mentioned it after you saw them at Wrecking Ball. I gave them a
Somos?
Yeah, I was not a fan.
Yeah.
It was not
Okay.
for me.
Yeah.
It was something about that guy's voice that just threw me off, and I just couldn't get into it. But I did give it a fair shake.
No, I appreciate it. No, they. I wasn't a big fan of them live. I will say that they're a band I think that's better suited for me, at least listening to on digital recording.
So the problem I've had lately is you've always been sort of the music undertone to what I listen to for the most part. Like I'll pick up a few things here or there and throw them at you, but for the most part things come to me through either you or JP. And so even though Somos was a flop, and the problem with this is that you send me so much music to listen to, I always end up listening to something. I'm like, oh, this is really good. And before it like lodges itself in my brain as like a band that I revisit, I've already got another half dozen that I go and check out, and then I forget who I really liked. So I have to just find out ways to remind you, like, what's the band that sounds like Circa Survive? Because I really liked their stuff. What's the band that sounded kind of like Churches? Because I really like their stuff.
You were talking about Hail the Sun, and then you're talking about The Colorist, and The Colorist actually just came out with a 5-song EP that's pretty fantastic. If you guys are into that kind of thing, dueling vocals between a female and a male artist, it's pretty good stuff. It's not Churches for you, I know. That's Churches is church for you. So
yeah.
It's very, very much literal for you. You're like, you listen to Hozier to get yourself geared up to listen.
I pregame listen to Churches with Hozier's Take Me to Church every morning on the way to work.
You know what's funny is we're getting off on a tangent, but that's what this show's all about. So I was flying back from Detroit, and I just could not sleep on the plane, so I put my headphones into the seat, and they had the overhead TVs playing. Sure enough, it's like a whole like hour-long documentary with Hozier, and I was like, oh god, this is gonna be terrible. It wasn't that bad. So it was a lot of interviews with him. He seems like a pretty down-to-earth guy. He's talking about how, I'm not a fan of his music necessarily, but he's talking about how, he never really expected to be famous at all, and that he, I know that most of them probably say that, but he recorded Take Me to Church in his parents' attic. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay. And then he's like, I figured I might end up on Irish radio and, have a career doing that. And he also made an interesting point where he was talking about how he loves American music listeners. I don't know, whatever. He likes Americans because they consume music as they hear it, as opposed to European listeners are more analytical as they listen. Where he's saying like Americans tend to take it in and enjoy it while they're listening to it, and Europeans just kind of like pick it apart.
See, I have that happen. That's really funny. I was thinking about that the other day. How many times I listen, like I'll consume it like you're talking about. Like I'll listen to it. If it sounds good, I'll listen to it a few times through just based on just how enjoyable it is to listen to. Because the flip side of that is just sort of the way I listen to music. It's either while I'm on a run, which has been few and far between lately, or whenever I'm at work more times than not. So especially whenever I'm at work, I don't have time to sit there and really pick apart lyrics and stuff like that. So like it's typically after the fifth or sixth listen through of an album that I really enjoy that I actually start to get another sort of meaning or interpretation of the actual album itself, which has been that's a really interesting point. Like I had never really thought about that or heard somebody actually mention that as a culture that we do that. So
yeah, that's it is interesting. I never thought about it either, and you're right. I more often than not, I don't start paying attention to lyrics until kind of later into the listening period. So,
and sometimes I've had the opposite happen where I've enjoyed it and then listened to the lyrics and be like, "This."
Yeah. Like this either doesn't make sense or this is so damn typical.
See, the flip side of that is Small Pool's album, where I've enjoyed it, and some of the lyrics are pretty ridiculous, but I still enjoy the album.
Come on. You're caught in a street fight. I'll be your lifeline. Yeah. You want to use me, I'll be your Bruce Lee.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good. That's one of the main things that I talk about during the down we'll call it the blackout 2015 last week, where I think you and I, that's an album that both of us share, an immense amount of joy with this year. Oh, great. Cool, Kevin. It's not funny, but at least I would have to go on for like a couple more minutes. I could cut it short.
Yeah.
I'm going to be all right. So
I don't know what's worse, your trials, KD, or your improv skills.
All right, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when I stage a blackout next week, halfway through the show. Let's see how you do, and then I'll keep texting you while you're in the middle of it. I'll keep telling you, "Oh, I can get back on," and then 5 minutes later, 5 minutes later, I can't. Asterisk.
I will admit that I am fully to blame for a lot of the lags and stuff in your discussion last week, just because I was texting you and you were trying to keep things rolling and read and respond to text simultaneously. So I'll take the fall for that.
Okay. It's understandable. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, that runs out my list. I think we're right at an hour, so that's we're right on time here.
So, So one last thing tomorrow. Mr. Robot finale.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I got all caught up this weekend. I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to see what happens. More crazy stuff. I
love it. I'm excited, man. It's the main sort of arc and underlying things have been addressed prior to the finale. So anything that I was speculating about has been addressed, and now I don't know what to think going into the finale. So I'm really excited to see what happens.
That's great. It's almost like, you do the full reveal an episode before, and then it gives you almost not a clean slate, but it gives you like a very open canvas to do with what you will, during that last episode.
Well, the problem is we're going to get exactly what I said we were going to get at the season finale, which is a giant cliffhanger, because they're setting up a whole new arc essentially going into the second season with the season finale
with Angela. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So
I'm hoping that it's not forced, like you were saying a couple weeks ago, with how they could draw it out for an extra season. I hope that it's organically going into another season with a good story. So
well, considering it's wrapping up this week, and whenever we had talked about that, we were on episode 7 of 9 or whatever, and I was just assuming there was sort of a 16 episode season. At least with it ending this week, I'm completely content with this story arc that they've built up in the first season carrying over into multiple seasons. Like
Yeah.
I had just been under the assumption that we had more time in season 1 than we actually did. So if they were trying to wrap up the whole F Society story arc and the overall plan in one season, I was wondering how they would carry that into 2. But if they sort of split that into multiple seasons, I'm on board with that. I just can't see that plot line running more than 2 seasons, because then it is going to get very white collar and very hard to stay on board with. So
yeah, I just really hope that it doesn't get drawn out, but there are plenty of subplots there to kind of keep it going. So.
All right, so yeah, that's all I've got. Sorry for the clicking, as Tim keeps reminding me. Apparently my glasses keep hitting the mic, and I don't even... Is that what you've been hearing?
I don't know. It's the way you've been turning or something. It keeps going.
That's really weird. I don't know if it's the mic or my actual glasses hitting it, but I apologize for any audio that you may have heard that has annoyed you. Maybe you didn't hear it and you're just now hearing me talk about it, which would be great. Otherwise, I apologize. So thanks for listening, guys. It's been great being back here. 3 weeks strong now, coming up on a month next week. So thanks for listening. Thanks for checking us out. You can find both of us on Twitter. Tim, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Tim Herb, TIMHERB.
You can find me at The Architect. That's at _ARC, the number 1, TECT. And you can leave us feedback, comments, subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, and we look forward to talking to you again next week. Thanks, guys.
See ya.